Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Mr. Mathis again. We're on 2.14 debugging. So, debugging is such a super important skill to have in coding. So, let's look at what they want us to do here. Um, let's look at the instructions. This two towers program has few errors. Can you fix them and find them so the code can complete its task? Now, note this does not have super Corel commands. So if I remember correctly, it doesn't have turn right. It doesn't have, okay, we have to explicitly create the function turn right. If I remember, it doesn't have turnaround. So we just have to check it out. So the first thing you do when you're debugging code is you're trying to get Python to give you some sort of clue, some sort of hint on what the problems are. So just run the code. Let's run the code really slow. Okay, it says error on line 6. When I'm walking around the classroom, I see some of you debugging just by typing it in, like trying to just figure it out yourself. Run the code. See what the computer says first. So bad input on line 6. So what do we see? Come down. Okay, so it looks like they're trying to create a function, but they don't define it. They don't put DEF. So all right, let's reset. All right, good. So let's go to line 21. What is clear here? Name build tower is not defined. Okay, so we have a build tower here that's defined, but they don't have the underscore like it has here. Okay, that's what we're missing. Let's reset. Let's run the code. Line 7, turnaround is not defined. Now remember, just like we talked about, this is not super Corel, so we have to explicitly define turnaround. Okay, so how do we define that? Turn left. So this turnaround is just turning left twice, if you remember from the previous videos. Okay, all right, good. Let's see, reset, run. 29. Okay, same issue we had here on 25, right? As you see, we forgot the underscore as we defined it, as they defined it up there. Let's reset. Let's run the code again. Looks like it's running. Let's speed up the code just for time purposes. All right, good job. We got it. We was able to debug that problem. Let's look at the next problem. Okay, so lots of hurdles, has a few errors. Can you find them and fix them so the code can complete its task? Again, no super Corel commands. So let's, like I always say, don't just start looking. First thing I would do is run the code, see what happens. Okay, so we have, let's slow down the code just so we could see things easier. First thing, turn right is not defined. So remember, this is not super Corel. We have to actually explicitly define the function turn right. Okay. So once we turn right, once we define that, we have to give uh, instructions on what to do. All right, so I think that'll do it. So let's reset. Let's run the code. Okay, let's see. I'll just speed this up for time purposes. All right, that was it. We got it. Good job. Okay, so now we've moved on to debug the big tower in 214. So let's look at the instructions and what Codehs wants us to do. The big tower program has a few errors. Can you find and fix them so the code can complete its task? All right, so let's take a look. Like I said before, when you're debugging, first thing I like to do is just run the code, see what the error messages are. So 17 build tower. Just like before, you cannot forget that underscore. That underscore is important. All right, so, okay, so let's see if that helps. Oh, okay, now let's see what happens here. There's an error. Okay, let's see. Okay, Corel now has run into a wall facing the wrong direction. Now we need, excuse me, sorry about that. So the issue that I see is Corel is not facing north. He's actually facing south. So even though the error stops while front is clear, it looks like the issue is with this function up here. We, I'm looking at while facing north. You want it to turn left. So this actually means that it turns left only when it's facing north. I think they were looking for the opposite. So let's see not facing north. Let's try that. I think not facing north would actually work here. Let's actually reset. Let's run this code. Okay, now we see Corel actually starts to face north. And now that he's facing north, okay, the code will actually run. Oh, it looks like there's only one ball at the top. We need to put one more ball down. So I think we could just put ball at the end, right? Just add one more put ball. And let's speed up the code and let's run it again really fast. Okay, there should be one ball at 10.6, but there's only, oh, I made a mistake. I should actually take ball. I think we should take the ball here. I think that will work. I wrote the wrong thing. Oh, I see the issue is if we look at the actual ending point, it should not be two tennis balls. It should be only one tennis ball at each spot. So let's look at this function. We have a while loop. It's a put ball, move, put ball. I think we just need one put ball. Okay, and let's see how this runs. All right, so we know the turn north works. Now let's just see if the build tower works. Okay, and now we have to just add one more put ball at the end. All right, we got it. Took a little bit of time, but we figured it out. All right, good job. Look, that's what debugging is. Debugging sometimes takes time. You have to have patience. So we had that, and we got it done. Let's submit it. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, this is the last one, I believe, of 214. So let's take a look at it. What does Codehs want us to do? All right, this random hurdles program has a few errors. Can you find and fix them so the code can complete its task? Okay, again, no supercorrel command. So like I like to do, run the code first. All right, line 10, we actually have to define turn right, remember? So let's define it. Um, we're not in supercorrel right now, so we have to define turn right. Okay, so turn left, and we'll just copy and paste that. Okay, so let's reset. That should, okay, line 16, turn right, bad input on line 16. Okay, so let's take a look at line 16. Oh, we defined turn right, so that should work, but it shouldn't have that semicolon. Yeah, okay, so let's try if that helped. Okay, line 17. Remember, the syntax, it has to be all in the same line. I bet that's going to be a problem for line 18 as well. Yep, we're right. Okay, so let's see. Line 25, what's the issue there? Okay, what's the issue on line 25? Now remember, let's look at the documentation for an if-else statement. Remember, if you're not sure, let's go to the documentation. If you look at the if-else statement, you don't write a condition for else. And here it does that, okay? So let's see if that helps if we take away that condition. Line 26. Okay, bad input on line 26. Oh, remember, this has to be indented, okay? It has to be indented. That's just a syntax for Python. All right, so let's kind of run this code. Let's see what happens. Let's speed up the code for time purposes. Wait, Corel has crashed into the wall. Do you have an extra move? Do we have an extra command? Let's see. It worked well right up until this point. I'm thinking we've looped it too many times. Let's see what happens when we loop it one less time. Oh, perfect. Yep, just one. That's what you just looped it one too many times. All right, so good. Great job. We got it done. It took us some time. I appreciate your patience, but that's what debugging code is, patience. All right, see you next time.